The sun was setting over Santa Monica Pier, casting golden light across the ocean waves and filling the air with laughter, music, and the smell of cotton candy. Crowds moved between the food stands, couples held hands, and the sound of the carousel echoed through the salty breeze. Among the crowd was Lily, a 10-year-old girl in a small pink wheelchair with flower stickers on its sides. Her mother, Sarah, walked beside her, smiling gently as Lily pointed at the Ferris wheel that glowed in rainbow colors. Lily had always loved the ocean. Even after a car accident took her ability to walk 2 years earlier, she never lost her joy. "Mom," she said, her voice light, "can we go closer to the water before we get ice cream?" Sarah nodded and pushed her gently along the boardwalk, her heart full of love and a touch of worry. Crowds could sometimes be unkind. She had seen the way some people stared. As they stopped to watch the sunset, 3 teenage boys approached. They looked about 16, loud, full of swagger, each holding sodas. At first, Sarah thought they were just passing by, until she heard one of them snicker. "Yo, check it out," one said, grinning cruelly. "She's got turbo wheels." The others laughed. Sarah froze. Lily's eyes fell. "Please don't," Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. But the boys kept going, mocking her, making engine noises, laughing as if her wheelchair were a joke. Lily's lips quivered. She tried to turn her chair away, but one of them stepped in front of her. "Come on," he sneered. "Don't roll away so fast." People around them looked but didn't move. No one said a word. The sound of the waves felt distant until a deep rumbling noise began to rise from the other side of the pier. The boys turned their heads, confused. One after another, motorcycles began rolling down Ocean Avenue, gleaming chrome catching the sunset. There must have been 30 of them, big black Harleys with roaring engines. The crowd turned to watch as the bikers parked, lined up in formation like a small army. At their front was a tall man with a grey beard, wearing a leather jacket that read "Guardians of Grace, MC." He took off his helmet and looked directly at the boys. "Is there a problem here?" His voice was calm but carried power, the kind of voice that didn't need to yell to be heard. The teens went silent. One stammered, "No, sir, we were just leaving." "Leaving sounds like a fine idea," the biker said, crossing his arms. "Because if I see anyone disrespect a child, especially one who's fighting harder than you ever will, then you're gonna wish you had a little more grace in your life." The boys backed away quickly, faces red, their fake confidence melting under the stares of dozens of bikers. The crowd that had stayed silent began to clap. Sarah blinked back tears as the man knelt down beside Lily's wheelchair. His voice softened. "Hey there, sweetheart," he said. "You like motorcycles?" Lily nodded shyly, eyes wide. "They're really loud," she whispered. He chuckled. "That's how we make sure the bad guys hear us coming." The bikers laughed warmly, and one of them handed Lily a small black patch with golden wings that read "Honor Rider." She smiled, holding it close, as if it were a medal. Sarah's heart swelled with gratitude. "Thank you," she said, her voice shaking. "You didn't have to." The man shook his head. "Ma'am, nobody stands alone, especially not here." Then he turned toward his crew. "All right, family, let's give this young lady something to remember." With that, the bikers formed 2 lines, revving their engines rhythmically like drums. Lily's eyes sparkled as they escorted her down the pier, the sound echoing like thunder under the California sky. People cheered. Someone filmed it, tears in their eyes. It wasn't about the noise. It was about the message. Kindness is louder than cruelty. They stopped near the edge of the pier where the sun dipped into the ocean. The lead biker took off his gloves and handed them to Lily. "Now you're one of us," he said. "A guardian of grace." For the first time that evening, Lily laughed, a full, bright laugh that carried through the wind. Sarah knelt beside her, whispering, "See, honey, there are more good people in the world than bad ones." Later that night, as they sat by their car, the bikers waved goodbye, the rumble of their engines fading into the distance. One of them shouted, "Stay strong, kiddo." A week later, a video from that night went viral. Millions watched the moment when a group of bikers stood up for a disabled girl. Comments flooded in, people from around the world sharing stories of kindness, promising to speak up next time they saw cruelty. Sarah read one comment out loud to Lily. "You taught us all what real strength looks like." Lily smiled and said softly, "Maybe kindness has engines too," and from that day forward, every time she heard the sound of motorcycles in the distance, she didn't feel small anymore. She felt protected. Because she knew somewhere out there, the guardians of grace were still riding, reminding the world that courage isn't always about fighting. Sometimes it's about standing beside someone who can't. As the ocean breeze whispered through the palms and the last bit of sunlight faded over Santa Monica Pier, the night seemed to hum with one truth: kindness can roar,